you are a community club. DCFC is a community-built club. And it will always
team is pitching a plan to revitalize a historic gem in our community, and it's a project that's driven by their passion for their sport.
State of disrepair right now. Concrete sort of crumbling a little bit. The bleachers.
Football club. We're at Keywood Stadium. This stadium was built in 1936. Simply put,
it's amazing to see just how far they have come. Years ago, they were playing over at Gas Tech, and now so many people.
Toward the goal to really settle in. The post and Stephon St. Louis is there to clear it.
Yeah, in the background, you know, they give us the 12th man. You know, it's awesome.
Fans to watch. We're happy to put on a show for all these guys that came out to see us play.
When we move, they move, and just communication is the biggest part.
It was great. I think we could have earned a shutout earlier against Sparta in the year.
Awesome. You know, the atmosphere is amazing.
Monday with the right foot. It's in the back of the net.
People know us now. People know what to expect. Now we gotta take it to another level.
Look, city till I die. Say hi to the bad fella. Hella smooth with the flow, so grab your umbrella. Yeah, we make it rain, bring the pain. Things are changing. Power rankings take a spanking, got them rearranging. They said Denise are all stars till we deboed all y'all. Ball of fist and brawl y'all. Yeah, we pissed off all y'all, and we thin but still winning. Grinning at the top, got up under head spinning, make that chin pop. Blue collar clocking in. They been mocking us for days till they step into the key, and they been leaving with a fade. Doubting us, but then they swayed. Say we pout, they throwing shade. You will never have what we have, time to get the blade. Cause we'll be cutting them up, yeah, we're shutting them up. We ain't bluffing, tell you something, better knuckle up. Y'all ain't nothing but chumps, we put in overtime. We'll be putting in work until it's closing time. City till I die, talking blood, sweat, and tears. City till I die, we've been building this for years. City till I die, this don't happen.
Hey, hello everybody.
Welcome to the 451 podcast.
Lots of news.
Lots of news. We got Alan. We got Adam. Garrett. Nobody knows where Garrett is.
Garrett is watching lower league wrestling. I'm assuming tonight.
Oh yes, it's Wednesdays. Correct. It's
Wednesdays.
Dennis is at a Dermot Kennedy concert. I assume that's an Irish musician of some sort. Not trying to stereotype.
Dennis is Irish, so he is
Irish. Just to clarify,
any music he listens to is Irish music.
Yeah, it's
only allowed. Yeah. So I guess I'm at the helm again, and I know what you're saying. You'd rather have Dennis or you'd rather have Garrett. But this is like one of those nights where you'd like say, boy, I'd really like a steak for dinner tonight. But all you got is fish sticks in the refrigerator. So, damn it.
So eat up.
You're gonna have these fish sticks, and you're gonna like it.
On that cherry note.
Boy, I had another TikTok game plan, but I just think we got to dive into it. There's so much going on. Let's start. Let's start.
Where to begin?
The big news that dropped yesterday. USAll announces promotion relegation starting sometime. Don't know exactly when. Don't know exactly how. And yesterday was like according to sources. But then today, Detroit City announced it. They had the post first thing today, pretty much.
Yeah, league put out a statement, and all the clubs started putting out stuff.
So, Alan, is this happening for real? Are we being fleeced into a? This has been my dream for American soccer for a long time, and I don't know.
It's official, which is a big step.
Yep.
They've been talking about this for years.
Yep.
And so now we have a box with stuff in it. We don't know what that stuff is. All of the details are to be determined, which is fine, I think. The according to both the coverage, which the story was broken by Paul Tenorio in the Athletic. Apparently, subsequent interviews with McDonough and all other people, basically, on Monday, they conferred with the owners of the championship teams, and then on Tuesday, they conferred with the League One owners, and they were able to reach a supermajority, which means, 2/3 or more, from both leagues, which was needed to approve the proposal. It will be in conjunction with the launch of the Division One teams or Division One league. So it's kind of contingent on that, so that there's a full 3 levels of participation.
Yeah.
So that they're aiming for season 27, 28. So that's kind of your ramp. Your ramp up is between now and that point.
Alan, did they specifically say in the article 27, 28?
They specifically said in conjunction with Division One.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the target for Division One is season 27, 28.
Yeah.
Because that's always been like real interesting the way that they word that, because I know who's the president. Is it Paul McDonough?
Yeah.
I remember when they came out with the article, the initial news about USL wanting to do Division One, they're going to pursue Division One, which it looks like it's going to happen. Like it actually looks like it's going to happen. There was that snippet in there where they talked about, they mentioned 27, 28. And I know that kind of got everybody like, oh, wow, what do they mean? Are they going to switch calendars? And then McDonough came out and said, well, we don't have any intention to, change calendars or anything like that. But then why did you mention those dates specifically?
Right.
How long has, the United States been under this specific calendar where everything happens within, a single calendar year?
Yeah.
So I'm still, a little curious as to what that actually means. But, yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Alan.
Well, there's lots of components to this. It's going to be a very complex process. Even just looking around the world, the process of promotion and relegation differs from country to country.
Yeah.
And in some ways substantially. So I think that whatever is finally agreed upon may be unique to the U.S. And I think that's okay. That there isn't one single agreed upon methodology of doing this. And of course, there's leagues that are more popular than others. Obviously, many, many more people have exposure to the English league pyramid than, say, Estonia, or whatever country you want to put in there.
What are you talking about, Alan?
Well, you don't follow Estonian football? Okay.
Are you telling me you've never watched a Flora Tallinn match?
Oh God, I knew he was gonna throw out some obscure.
I've made a terrible mistake here.
It was right
up Estonian football.
It was right on the tip of my tongue.
Jaime needs to. We need to.
He knew I was going to go there.
Jaime said we need to hurry to wrap up this episode.
I could have mentioned Latvian football, and it's like I had to go straight to Estonian.
I've got a problem. That's the bottom line.
Isn't that where Steven Junchai is playing? Is he playing in the Estonian league now, or?
He could be.
That's a good. We'll get the research department on that.
So I think that, again, like going through all the coverage, you kind of like put all these pieces together, and one of the things that was mentioned was that opinions shifted on this topic after the announcement of Division One. That was a big piece of this, making this more practical, and that so clearly it wasn't unanimous. There were some clubs who voted no, but that was addressed in some of these interviews, and the concerns were more along the lines of timing, not like a full opposition to changing this model. So that's a pretty good level of consensus. There's what, 42 clubs in both levels. So to get, more than 35 or 40 clubs.
There's a number of expansion or whatever teams in the pipeline between now and that 2028 kind of range.
And I'm sure there'll probably be more too with
yeah, for sure.
And go ahead.
No, I was going to say finish your thought, Alan, because I don't want to go away from what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean that's another big component of this is going to be the league will use this to promote other investors to get on board. So there are going to be clubs that don't exist right now who are going to be part of this.
Yeah.
Not only that, too, Alan. I mean, when you think about it, too. I mean, yes, there are going to be some owners at the top that are going to be pissed off about this. Like, I can only imagine, like John Neese or something like that with Lou City, being pissed off that, his club can be, relegated at some point, which I doubt will ever happen. But
they're also going straight to the top, though.
Exactly. Like, Lou City will start at the top. Lou City isn't going to start in, they will be part of USL Premier or whatever it is they call it.
Yes.
My feeling is, though, is that this automatically makes those clubs in, which will be the championship then, in League One then, more valuable. Because what is going to happen, this is what we see happen right now with, rich billionaire American owners and investors. They're not going and buying clubs in MLS or investing in clubs in MLS. They're going overseas.
Yeah.
I mean, look and they're getting those lower league clubs because they can just throw a bunch of money at them, get them promoted.
Welcome to Wrexham. Welcome to Wrexham.
Exactly. I mean, Wrexham is getting ready to promote it, for the third straight year?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what can happen here. All of a sudden, the Spokane Velocity are going to be, their worth is going to be skyrocketed. Well, I don't know about skyrocketed, but it's going to be increased because you can get an owner in there to buy that club, put a shit ton of money into it, and all of a sudden you get promoted instead of going and spending $500 million on expansion fees to get into, MLS.
Insane.
Yeah, no, it is. That's an insane way of thinking about it, and it's just, I don't think enough people are looking at it like that, because immediately what people are seeing is, oh, this is a mistake for USL. This is a mistake for these clubs who are going to lose value at the top, and that's not going to be the case, because even when you look at like Premier League or Bundesliga, the top clubs are never getting relegated. Arsenal, Man City, Manchester United is shitty as they are. I was going to say Tottenham, but Tottenham isn't getting relegated. I mean, those clubs aren't. They're not getting relegated.
Probably
not. And that's what's going to happen in this USL Premier. The top clubs, the Charlestons, as long as they still have a bunch of money being thrown at them. Blue City, those clubs aren't getting relegated.
Do you know who might get relegated though?
Detroit City,
Rhode Island.
Yes,
it's happening.
Yes.
Let's go.
Well, I mean,
you already see like Ronaldinho apparently is like a part owner of Greenville now. I mean,
yeah.
I think this is the.
We're going to see a lot more.
Yep. Yeah.
Activity along those lines. I mean, it's both a blessing and a curse in that right now, if you look at kind of the economics of USL Championship and the economics of USL League One, there's not a lot of spread. Like why is relegation such a traumatic experience in, let's say, the Premier League in England? Because of the money that's involved. Dropping down to the EFL Championship is millions of pounds of lost revenue, TV money, and if you fall further than that, it's just the numbers are crazy. So that is something that USL doesn't have to deal with, at least directly, immediately, is the question of what happens financially if a team gets relegated. Because really, all these teams are reliant on gate as their primary source of revenue. And, if you can keep your gate where it was, then the level you're playing at really shouldn't have that much of an impact. That's also the curse, is that how do you differentiate these levels to make it worth additional investment? And that's something that's going to have to get worked out. It was always assumed that when we did have a system of promotion relegation, there would be a prize at the end of the day for going up. So that's something that will need to be worked out. Like how do you incentivize this whole system so that if you're in League One, you say, okay, here's our path, how we're going to get to the top, because it's going to be worth our while to do it.
For sure.
And of course, us as fans, we like it because of the competitive aspect of it.
Yeah.
The clubs are going to have to work out the commercial aspect of it.
Right.
Now, part of that may be the TV deal, going to broadcasters and saying this is a whole bigger and better thing. So there's ways to do it, but that's one of the things between now and then that'll have to get worked out is building in the incentives. But that's just that these are the kind of things you want to have a discussion about, because before it was basically so theoretical that it really wasn't worth a lot of time to even work out the nuts and bolts.
I'm assuming too one of the big incentives is going to be, television deals. All of a sudden,
exposure,
you're going to be, and that's the driving force behind American sports now, and really sports all around the world. It's
sure.
broadcast deals, and that's why PLS is really becoming obsolete, just because that's not the way that professional or major college sports works anymore in the United States. It's not dictated by these obscure, ambiguous rules, set forth by some governing organization like U.S. Soccer. It's dictated, and the success of your sports league and the sports in general is now dictated by the broadcasters. It's dictated by CBS and Fox and NBC, and any subsidiaries that they have.
If I have to buy another streaming service to watch,
yes, you will. You will.
Oh my goodness!
But I've mentioned this. I mentioned this a million times. I know to just different people, and it just seems silly that, because you have people out there who are so set in stone when it comes to PLS, asking these questions and striking down like any idea of there being promotion and relegation or even a USL Premier League. Well, that's not what PLS. They right now you have more than 75% of the teams in USL Championship that don't meet PLS standards for Division One, and again, that's not how shit works now, because I can guarantee you right now, or not even right now, but maybe in another year or so, CBS is going to go to USL and say, "Hey, you guys get Division One. We're going to up that contract that we have with you guys by, millions of dollars." And what is U.S. Soccer going to do in that sense? Are they really going to go and say, hey, Charleston, they have a stadium that, only holds, 7,000 people. And I'm sorry, you guys, PLS is 15,000. So we can't grant you guys that, we can't grant you guys Division One because of a stadium size. That's not realistic. That's not how shit works.
Well, and this is the farce of American soccer, right? Like, I mean, to me, soccer is, and this is the unique thing. Soccer is for everybody, right? So, like, I'm a longtime La Liga follower. So Real Madrid is in there with an 85,000 seat stadium, and they deserve to be there. And Ibar, who's got a 9,000 seat stadium, deserve to be there. Like, I mean, they're in the second division now, but when they were there, they deserve to be there. You know what I mean? On merit, and it doesn't matter the media market size. It doesn't matter. None of that matters because they deserve to be there, but on merit. And that's to me, that's the hope for all of this is that, who cares if there's a town in North Dakota, Bismarck, North Dakota wants to have a team, and they're good enough. Like, they should have a team. It doesn't matter if MLS doesn't care about the North Dakota market. They should be there if they deserve it. And the same for Boise.
More than any other sport, soccer is poised to reach a whole range of communities that aren't currently served by, semi-pro or professional sports. I think one of the things on the USL list of things to do is talking to U.S. Soccer about a lot of things, but PLS is one of them. PLS was created, 15 years ago for a period of the, dealing with the game as it was then. Are those really the conditions where we're operating under now? I mean, it's a totally different situation, and I don't know who's advocating for PLS to even exist at this point. Certainly not USL. I don't think that MLS really thinks it's relevant to them at all, even. So, this is probably a tool that's whose time has come and passed. Now, whether U.S. Soccer feels that way, who knows? But I think that USL might have at least a chance to either rework those rules or just throw them out the window, because it was meant to stabilize the game, and there's really not a lot of evidence that it was successful in doing that. There was other things that became more relevant, did PLS prevent the Nisa fiasco? Hardly.
No.
Hardly.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
that's case number one. I'll give the judge. That's my first piece of evidence that PLS is garbage.
It's full of loopholes too, Alan. I mean, look at Open Cup.
It's not workable. People work around it more than they comply with it. And at a certain point, rules that aren't smart become a break. That they hold things back. And so I think that's something that perhaps will resolve itself over the next period. Now, one thing that USL has to deal with that might become maybe more complicated is the question of territoriality. That one may be more difficult for owners to get their heads around. That has been such a component of USL's operation since day one. But again, I think that in the new circumstances, that might hold things back.
Yeah, no, and that's ingrained in U.S. soccer at all levels, from professional to youth, and it's not good. It does not help anything.
No, it seems like U.S. soccer, at any level, it seems like they're best. If they're good at anything, it's good at holding themselves back. It's they're good at getting in they're good at getting in their own way when it comes to something like that, because that's exactly what territorial rights does. I mean, it just gets in the way of actual real growth. Because I mean, obviously, we're all Detroit City fans, Detroit City supporters, and I mean, the other big club around here was Michigan Stars for a while, and for a little while, even for a little while, then it was Gold Star for what, a year. I mean, technically speaking, they were all blocked from making any jump into USL or anything like that. There's the rumor about City taking Georgia's spot in USL Championship when Charlotte went down and City took over those franchise rights. So, I mean, I agree. I mean, I still hesitate to call it real pro rel if you still maintain, just the asinine territory rights, within your charter or whatever it is you want to call it. It's just you got to get rid of it. You got to get rid of it. It has to go, because if you're, I mean, at that point, it just seems like it's hypocritical at that point. If you're going to implement pro rel, you got to get rid of territory rights. It just seems right.
You've just introduced an innovation that people have been clamoring for, and potentially a huge boost to investment. And then you're going to run that through the sieve of territory rights.
Yeah,
it doesn't make a lot of sense.
No,
but
and
I'm sure the owners are not going to see it that way, though. And,
I wonder. Yeah,
it's going to be complicated.
You wonder if that was brought up though, before they made the vote.
I don't know.
And if it was, then great. I mean, that's good, because it seems like there was an overwhelming vote for pro rel. And I don't know. It aside from all that, though, I mean, I think it was a vote that had to happen. When it comes to USL survival, I think that they needed to implement pro rel in some way or another. It needed to happen because. Well, go ahead.
No, for years, Alexi Lawless, among others, have been saying, "Build a better mousetrap, build a better mousetrap." Well, okay, so they are, and again, I think you're right. Like, out of necessity, they kind of needed to do this, just to differentiate themselves, right? Because MLS is their thing, right? And that's not going anywhere. But there's almost 30 years in, right, for MLS. Like,
was it 96? Was that the first year?
96, I think. Yeah. So I mean, nothing's changed with them. So here's the chance to do something different, and we'll see if they screw it all up or not. But
yeah, I mean, the thing that's changed from 20 years ago is, and not to get all Marxist on this, but the material conditions have changed in the sport. I like it, when I first started following North American soccer, you look at anything below MLS, there was not a lot of there. It was very unstable. It was not a lot of clubs, and these clubs just came and went constantly.
Yeah.
We're in a much better place now, with a vastly higher number of clubs, all the way from the semi-pro level up.
Mm-hmm.
We're to the biggest problem with the pro rel discussion, 20 years ago is like, how's it going to work? There's no lower divisions.
There's like 5 teams.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it didn't make a lot of sense. The concept made sense, but the material conditions of actually performing it just weren't there. They're here now.
Yeah.
It's also it's kind of crazy too. I mean, everything that's been happening this past these past few weeks, it doesn't involve MLS. I mean, we have Open Cup going on right now. Right now, we have Open Cup going on, something that MLS tried to kill last year, and Open Cup has gotten away from some, and it seems like things are a little bit better this year with the Open Cup. It seems a little bit more stable. It's not as chaotic as it was.
Cash prize increase.
Yes, cash prize increase, which is great. That is great. Again, you talk about those incentives, Alan, earlier on. There's more incentive to, get more teams involved with Open Cup. You have USL talking about, starting a Division One league. Now you have Pro Rel. It's weird to think. I mean, we're nowhere near this right now, but MLS, are they going into a point? Are we going in a direction right now where 10 years from now, is MLS going to be somewhat obscure? I mean, because all these exciting things right now that are happening in, U.S. soccer has nothing to do with MLS for the very, very most part. And I think that that's something that MLS is going to be forced to take a step back with, take a good long look at, and just think about what their place is here in American soccer and how they want to move forward with their own model and everything. I think we may get to that question.
Point. I mean, it's kind of like nobody's really brought it up too much because the news is too fresh. But how does MLS respond to this?
Yeah.
How can they possibly change their model at this point? They've really they've built the thing that they are. And, they're getting these huge expansion fees. It's they're not part of the discussion because they have no place to go. And so I'm sure that they are going to have some response to this when they realize that the spotlight has shifted off of them, and they're going to want to do something about that. I don't know how they're going to address it, but it'll be something. Or they can say, we're so established and we're so great and we're getting all these stars in the league that you go do what you do and we don't care about it. I mean, that's one potential. I just can't see them taking that benign of a view.
Yeah, I think the acid test is going to be like once USL's got established Division One in theory on par. Maybe who knows financially or whatever. But you still see these European guys who come over, and they've signed on the dotted line, and they're like, wait, what? It doesn't matter if you finish last. I think Zlatan was like that when he came over to LA Galaxy. He was like, what? And then you got to do a playoffs? What are you talking about?
Playoffs?
They can't even wrap their brains around it. You know what I mean? When you first tell them this is how MLS works, and so then it's well, if USL could start to 15 years from now, they bring over whoever, because I think it makes more sense. Anyone who's grown up with any kind of experience in European or South American soccer, whatever, this is how you understand soccer: is promotion and relegation. This is what it is. And so anything else is actually weird. And MLS doesn't realize that because they're catering to an American audience who's used to NBA and NFL, where it's okay, you finish last, you get the first draft pick. Congratulations. You know what I mean? And it's just not like that anywhere else in the world. So I think obviously that's not going to happen right off the bat. But as it gets going, if they can start, I think it makes more sense to people. So that to me will be the test. And obviously we're nowhere near that, but.
And there are some other cracks too, in this MLS stranglehold or this MLS style in the United States. Even when the Super League got rid or didn't adhere to the they weren't going to do a draft. Mm-hmm. They were going to do a player draft, which is great. But that's how it should be. Players should be able to go, play essentially where they want. I know there's other barriers to that, whether or not the team wants them, but I thought that was another good first step and something that was good for American soccer. Having a top flight women's league not have something like that. So I mean, it's so weird to think. Like I mean, out of the two of you, I've gotten to this, into soccer later. But even when I started getting involved with it, I never thought that we would get to the point right now where there seems to be some real challenge to the MLS domination in this country when it comes to soccer itself.
Did you just say the MLS?
Did I say the MLS? The MLS? The MLS domination. The MLS domination.
Okay, that's better.
Well, I mean, MLS's story on this has always been, well, this is just how we do it in the U.S.
Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe not. And I think that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, because this has been like a foundational myth that they've established all the way from the beginning of the league, was we have to do it this way. It won't work otherwise.
And I love that line too, Alan. I love that line too with it, just because it's just clouded in bullshit with them, because it's not the way that we do it. Even from a back end, so from the back end and how things are run in MLS, that's not how things are done. Because MLS in this country their league structure is that's no other league does that like them. It's a single entity league. The only other league that does that is the NWSL and the PWHL, and that's it. The NBA, MLB, NBA, NHL, they're not single entity leagues. So I know that's kind of out there, but it's just MLS is just so clouded in bullshit in every single thing that they do when it comes to growing the game, when it comes to how the league structure is, and how, you don't have owners, you have investors. And the league can pick up and move that team at the drop of a hat if they wanted to. I'm sorry, Orlando City, but yeah, you're also paying for Messi's contract as well. So that's how shit works. I mean, sitting here as Detroit City supporters, can we imagine at this point right now going and paying for Maxi Rodriguez's contract at Rhode Island? I mean, I
would fucking tear up my season ticket. Let me tell you.
Throw it at Sean Mann.
Love you, Sean.
Yeah, but nobody does it like you, MLS, because you do it in such a backwards way that it's dumb. It's stupid. It works for you and nobody else.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Well, on that note,
have a good night, everybody.
Detroit City is undefeated. Damn it!
Wow. When did that happen?
Last year. Where did we go? 3-0? 4-0?
I thought they won 5 in a row, right, to start last season?
Did they go 5?
Yeah.
I think so. So basically, what that just tells us is that everyone who's worried about the preseason, not playing anybody of note, you don't know ball. You don't know ball. Yeah, Detroit City off to a hot start. Beat Miami 2-0 in Miami. Followed that up with a 2-1 win against the defending USL Championship champions, Colorado Springs Switchbacks. I thought a switchback was a snake of some kind.
What is a switch? What is a switchback?
It's actually like a windy road, apparently.
Oh. So they're named after a windy road?
Yeah, it's totally dumb. Beat Colorado Springs 2-1 on the road again. All right, let's just say it. Morrissey came out and gave us a very backhanded compliment. He was like, well, Detroit City's winning games without any midfield. but I guess it's good to be able to win in different ways. All right, Morrissey, we're on to you. You can just shut it. Alan, are we worried at all? Is this smoke and mirrors or is this legit? Because obviously against Miami we had a little bit of a boost with the red card. Miami went down to 10 men early, or
And
late,
it was Miami.
late in the second half, and it's Miami. Against Colorado we had like 30% possession, but still, XG is a farce. Don't even care. But we're winning. Is that all that matters?
Yeah, I think the Colorado game was a good test case about whether this is real or not. Early problems. Colorado Springs could have scored twice in the first 10 minutes. And, somehow, some way, Carlos, is slotting in very well. It's number one keeper.
Yeah.
And Colorado Springs was a little sloppy on their attempts, but one hit the crossbar, I think, and somehow we didn't fold under that kind of pressure and was able to kind of pull things back together again. Ended the half 0-0, and then when they did score, we kept it together, and then we were able to both, be in the right place and also be lucky in the second half. If you look at the stats, we should have lost that game. But it ended 2-1 City. And that's the sign of we're working with something real here.
Yeah.
Good individual performances. Another great game from Sean Wheat. And it's I think it's got a little bit to go in terms of building that chemistry that we need to see from everybody. But that if we were going to lose that game, we would have lost it.
Yeah. Adam, any early standouts in the first two games for you? Individually?
Alan, you mentioned Shane Wheat, and he seems like he's been like kind of the missing link with this team ever since Matt Lewis retired, and we finally have a viable, legitimate replacement for Matt Lewis. I mean, there's been a couple of guys who have stood out.
Shout out to Jalen Robinson.
Jalen Robinson, was he playing?
No, I thought you meant like one of the guys who came to try and replace Matt Lewis.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. Shane Wheat is that guy. It seems like played a great. I thought, especially the last game. I thought Jay Chapman looked really, really good, and kind of that connection that he was forming with Alex Villanueva, who I also thought looked really, really good.
Yeah.
I was very impressed with those two, and most importantly, though, with Jay Chapman, because heading into this season, given what we lost this offseason, Maxi Rodriguez, I think that I always thought there was going to be this giant microscope on the midfield this year. And Jay Chapman so far, even though we're in the second game, has done a good. I'm not saying he's replacing Maxi, but he's done a good job kind of solidifying that midfield.
They're different. They're different kinds of players.
Different kinds of players, but yeah, but he's done a good job. Like I said, solidifying that midfield, and it's all of this too is happening without Jope as well.
Yeah.
All of this is happening without arguably our best player in Devin Amumensa. So I mean that's something to take from all of this too. Yes, we were without Lai and Devin against Miami. We were without him again against Colorado, and team was able to still come out on top. And I think, and I don't think that that's something that you can gloss over or anything like that. That right now this club isn't playing at full strength. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I was very, very impressed by Jay Chapman and Alex Villanueva against Colorado. I thought, obviously goal scorer Darren Smith, but I thought Darren Smith looked really good too.
I think with Villanueva, I think the thing for me, and this is, dare I say, a throwback, but when you're playing with like the wing backs like we do, you really need two. You really need two to make it work. And I think we saw that in the very first year with Grass Boy and Reese Williams. I mean, the two of them in tandem, right? It's like you couldn't just take away one side, right? Because both of them were threats and both of them were creating stuff, right? Then you go to year two and you had like the Cy Goddard experiment, and it never really got off the ground. And then it was easy for other teams to focus on shutting down the right hand side because there's no threat coming from the left hand side, right? And then you go to last year and we kind of tried. We brought Villanueva in. We had the kind of the semi-retired Brett Levi's, and you got a few good performances out of both of them, I thought, but not like consistent. And so now I think we've had two good games from Villanueva, and obviously that's a small sample size, but I think if you can get Villanueva and you can get Williams on the outsides, both of them creating danger, both winning one-on-ones, both providing service into the strikers, I think we might be cooking with gas there. So, Villanueva, I think that's one to keep an eye on.
Did we play Cy Goddard one time as a left wing back against San Diego?
I think he got like 1 game and a half.
And then Trevor was like, "Nope."
It's like like
never saw him again.
The big, like that big like shepherd's hook that like would like yank people off of like the stage. That was Cy, man. He was.
I saw Trevor like trying to hook him from the touchline. Yeah,
not good. Not good.
Something else is encouraging too is the this is a group that's I think it's gonna be heavily rotated. Not so much out of necessity really, but out of convenience almost. And I think it's a team too that's gonna have real talent on kind of like on both squads, the rotated squad and the starting squad.
Yeah.
And this isn't, in years past, we've had teams where, the offense never worried anybody, on the opposition. I think that this could be a year where,
and we never subbed them.
Yeah. I think this is going to be a year that teams can't simply go and score a goal and then just sit back on us anymore.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a year where we're going to force teams to, play on their heels a little bit, which is good.
So we had Darren Smith obviously got on the score sheet for the first time against Colorado. Guenzati, it went down as an own goal, but if that defender hadn't got the touch, Guenzati was definitely scoring it. Adebayo Smith made his debut. We got Morris up top still, doing his thing.
I'm waiting for some backhanded.
What? But I think you're right. Before, we didn't really have many. Again, I think we're kind of saying Becerra or Bibu. We've had a host of kind of nondescript loanees. We've got the ghost of Billy Forbes,
O'Neal Fisher.
But I think, but also not just the top guys. Obviously we've seen Reese Williams get 2 starts, but then Maury Donor's come off in the second half, so to give fresh legs, and he's another kind of dynamic wide player. Yamazaki's had not too many minutes, but he seems to be kind of the other option on the left. So,
but like Ades Diaz didn't even play. He wasn't even
right?
He wasn't even doing the team in Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's like 2 or 3 guys that could be in the pool still, who just for whatever reasons weren't available. So, so here's a question. The conventional wisdom is that you find your best team and you use them constantly so that they can kind of build up a rhythm and stuff like that. We've got so many guys who can start. Do you figure out that first team and go with it, or do you determine based on who you're playing? So basically a different lineup every time.
This is why I'm glad I'm not a coach.
I mean, Danny's got to make some decisions about this, because if you pick out a first 11 and these other guys just languish on the bench, that's
we've seen
problem.
that. We've seen that in other years where maybe guys haven't been involved, and then they're kind of like, "What am I doing here?" I do think especially in the early going, I'd like to see us kind of
play around a little bit.
No, I was going to say try and stick to a group that you think is working.
Oh, okay. The opposite then.
But I mean, I think, but you see these guys coming in and contributing, and then I think like we've seen this now. This is year 4 in USL Championship. Like as you get to the summer, like these games are coming like fast and furious, and there's stretches where you're playing 3-4 games in 12 days, or it's insane. So you have to be able to like slot guys in, and I think as you've got like more quality players and you've got more competition within the squad, like I think you can kind of see that and use that to your advantage. So it's like, okay, well, when we're in the middle of July and Reese has played 3 games in a row, it's like, okay, yeah, put Donor in and let him have a run for 2 or 3 games, and that, I think that keeps you fresh. Again, like Alan was saying, it keeps everyone involved and feeling like they're valued parts of the team. And then hopefully when you get to October, you've still got an idea of what your best 11 is, but you've got also guys that can come in off the bench. You get guys who can fill in if there's injuries or suspensions, and you kind of don't miss a beat. So that would be my vibe, but.
I just think back to 2022 when we essentially just ran Pato into the ground. That
everybody like
yeah, and it was. I mean, it's crazy to think where we're at now with the team and what we're able to do. But yeah, I mean I if that's what you think should be done, Jaime, then I'd be more prone to agree with you and your assessment.
You don't have to say. You don't have to say that, Adam.
Like I said, I'm
blushing.
Like I said, I'm glad I'm not a coach. Because
yeah, for sure.
I really don't know what I would do in that sense. I'd be too afraid of picking the wrong scenario or whatever. But no, it's.
Well, I'm sure Danny's putting a lot of stock in how people do in the week before the games.
And in the games,
how are they showing? And those practices must just be cutthroat.
I mean,
can you imagine though? Go ahead, Jaime.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, but can you imagine? Even last year, playing a game, especially out in Colorado against the defending champions, without Devin Amumensa, just.
I was just gonna say, I think the dream scenario is that it's really hard for the coach to pick the starting 11 every week. It's like the guy you think, oh, well, I think I know what the best 11 are, but this guy's played really well. Like Connor Rutz has come off the bench twice and scored a goal and put in another good performance in a slightly different position. He gives me options. Or again, Adebayo Smith comes on and shows some spark a little bit, and Juve, we didn't even bring him this week, but maybe next week he's in the match day squad and does something. So,
it's going to be even more vital too, because we not only do we have Open Cup that we've got to contend with, but we also have the Jägermeister Cup as well this year. So
what the hell is the Jägermeister Cup? I never even knew about this until I was looking at my season ticket the other day, and I was like, what is this?
You have to drink Jägermeister to get the schedule.
It's like I gotta get drunk to watch Westminster SC or something.
The dog show. The guy watched the dog show. No, what happens
we added more.
Yeah, you got, like Alan said, you got to drink Jägermeister to get the schedule, and then when you go to the game, you got to drink Jägermeister every time a goal is scored.
All right. Well, I'm not happy about this, but I'll do it.
You have to drink Jaeger every time a goal isn't scored, too.
87 minutes of the 90, I'm just like chugging.
So don't bring your kid. Don't bring your kid.
Don't bring my kid, yeah. So big announcement today. Ryan Williams back in the fold. Does that move the needle for anyone?
Yeah.
I like it.
I think he was a guy that we were kind of puzzled, like, why wasn't he re-signed?
Yeah. I kind of wasn't like I didn't think he was like out of this world or anything, but at this point, like, we actually need someone in that position, in my opinion. Like, we've only really got like it's pretty clear that Gasso's not in the picture at all. So we've only really got Chapman and Polisi. Jope obviously coming back from injury, but he's like, who knows when he's going to be a full go. So I really do think that like we need a guy for one of those two center mid positions, and I think Ryan Williams is an experienced guy.
Good on the set piece.
Yep, good on the set piece for sure.
Good on the set piece.
So yeah, I mean, obviously someone that DKO, he trusted a lot last year. At different points.
You got a lot of time at the end of the season.
Yeah. So
I want to say one of the big things this year with him is, I think the club wanted his family to come with them.
Yeah.
Because I think he was from what I remember hearing. He was homesick last year, and right. I think that may have been like one of the conditions to bring him back this year was you're going to come back, you got to bring your family with you.
Yeah.
So, no, it's good. I like having him back. I do like having him back. He scored. He's had that big goal against Houston and San Antonio too, if I remember.
Yeah, I think that's right. That sounds. Garrett would know.
Garrett would know if he was here. He'd probably be able to give the time and everything too that it was scored. And he almost. He was one of the more impressive players against the Rowdies in that playoff match too.
Yeah.
Aside from Ben Morris, who didn't disappoint when he buried that penalty.
Did he score in regular time?
No, nobody scored in regular time. He did score. He did score the penalty though, unlike Maxey and James Murphy.
Maxey, man.
Who was already checked out and mentally in Rhode Island at that point. So
is this going to be controversial though? We've already given away Ryan Williams' number from last year.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, we gave it to Shane Wheat. Because last year Williams wore 4, and this year Wheat's got 4. So now
I heard they got to do the American Gladiators thing on that back Keyworth wall
with like the big Q-tips.
Yeah, the big Q-tips, and whoever wins gets to keep the number. Yes,
they're gonna meet by the bike racks after school. Sort it out.
The loser has to wear 44. Do we want to say anything about the women's MASL team? That killed whoever it was last weekend in the last.
Was it Indiana? Did they play?
Indiana. Yep, that was the last regular season game.
Shout out to Roger for giving us the score lines because no one else knew. There was no other coverage of it.
It's like the club didn't even send an intern or anybody. They weren't. They're like,
The women just showed up and
they're like, Danny, could you text from the bench the updates on the Twitter? She's like, no, I will not. Yeah, shout out to Roger. So 10-1. I think there's one more week of the regular season technically this weekend. Detroit City's not playing in it.
Oh, yeah.
But across
We're
the
done.
league, there's one more week of the regular season, and then I think the next week is the playoffs. I think. I don't know, man. Have you guys looked at the league stats recently at all?
They came 7 goals short of scoring 100.
But this Chihuahuas team or whatever, I assume they're from Texas. That might be a.
I think they're from Mexico.
Why are they from Mexico?
Yeah.
There's a Mexican team from here in MASL in the United States.
Anything goes in indoor soccer.
This
You can
is
do
the
whatever
wild,
you want.
This is the Wild West. Well, anyways, this Chihuahua team, like 9 of the top 10 scorers are from this Chihuahuas team, and the other one is like Kayla Addison. It's like this is the team that we got to beat in the playoffs.
Fucking bring it on. I mean, if there is a playoffs, which it sounds like more and more that there is going to be a playoff, which it would suck if there wasn't.
Can you imagine?
That would be.
I mean, we still have to feed into
shame.
our American sports fandom here. We need playoffs.
My grandmother would say, "That's a shanda. That's a shame."
Thanks for coming in, everybody.
They do. I think City's the only team though in the entire league that doesn't have a loss. Doesn't have a blemish.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Even the Chihuahuas have lost one.
The Chihuahuas have a loss on their record.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. I mean, I have no idea what the makeup of that division was. I don't know how competitive it was. I honestly don't even really know how competitive our division was because
not very.
I mean, without the Detroit City FC variable in it,
yeah.
I mean, maybe they would have been, competitive.
Oh yeah. I'm sure the other 5 teams would have been like fighting it out if it hadn't been for us.
I mean, Detroit City
everybody.
They just steamrolled through everybody.
Yeah, I think I would love to see us, play one of the other decent teams, in one of the other divisions, just to really see, are we as good as we think we are? Because I think we're really, really good.
Yeah.
And the only way to test that out is to, playing some of these other teams.
Right.
It's just, it's just the way they had to set it up, and I get it. That you had to do it the way they did it, but so it would be a shame if we didn't have that opportunity for the women to show their quality at a higher level, and I hope it happens. Who knows?
Yep. Anything else we should talk about?
Here we got a game coming up.
You have a game coming up. Did you know that?
Home opener this weekend.
He remembered.
I think it's in like 3 days.
The men's team. It's supposed to be lovely March weather.
We thought the season was over already.
Against Birmingham Legion.
How'd we do?
The Birmingham Legion.
Who lost tonight? Set tonight.
Lost tonight in the Cup.
Oh, yeah. Recording this on Wednesday.
Detroit City undefeated all time.
So breaking news when you hear this podcast on Friday.
Or Saturday. You never know when people tune in.
Whenever you listen.
Might even be next week by the time they hear this. But
yeah, so that throws an interesting dynamic into this. Because
did they have to travel for this Cup game?
What's that?
Did they have to travel for this Cup game, or was this
yes,
in
they
Birmingham?
did.
Oh, so that's a rough schedule. That's a rough schedule. You got to travel midweek, then travel on the weekend.
All right.
Predictions?
I said 1-1. I'm kind of. I'm gonna stick with it, but I'm very, very much questioning myself just because I forgot that they had an Open Cup match this week.
They started some of their regular dudes too, like Enzo.
I know Enzo started tonight.
Yeah.
I know Enzo started tonight.
Huh.
Thing is Danny Trejo wasn't playing last week against Lou City. Obviously, he wasn't playing tonight. He wasn't even on the roster last week against Lou City. So I'm wondering if he's hurt. What's going on with it? Oh, and the first week that when Birmingham lost against Loudoun, he left. He was subbed out at like the 50th minute. So I'm wondering if he is banged up already a little bit to start the season. I mean, Birmingham, they're a tough team. They spent a lot of money on offense, and heading into this weekend, I think that this is.
Wait, did they got Damus right over the offseason?
Yes. Yep.
So I mean, he's a perennial goal scorer in the USL Championship.
Right. So I mean, they've got a lot of firepower to play with. And they're going into a weekend right now where they kind of have an early season must-win game coming into Detroit.
Yep.
I mean, and not to mention too, they had their game last weekend got moved to Sunday, so they lose a day there, and then they got to go travel to play in the Open Cup. Then they got to come to Detroit where the weather may not be all that great. I don't know. I'm questioning myself on that 1-1, but I'm going to stick with it just because I think Birmingham's going to be desperate going into it. So
they started. Looks like they started 5 players tonight that started on the weekend against Louisville. I mean, that's like half the team that's playing the midweek, like that you would assume is part of their best starting 11. So, Alan, prediction.
My first reaction is that we're going to do pretty good. But I agree with Adam that, if Birmingham loses this game, their season is having a really bad start. So they're going to be pretty focused. I'm going to go 2-1 City. I was going to do 3-1, but I think it's going to be tougher than what you would think, given their early form.
5-0, Tommy.
This is gonna come as no surprise, but I'm gonna go ahead and predict Detroit City 4, Birmingham 0. Ben Morris hat trick. Garrett is gonna be over the moon. He's gonna think he's got the bet in the bag. It's a long season though, Garrett.
Garrett's gonna run onto the pitch in nothing but his boxers and his bolo tie.
And a cowboy hat. Yeah.
And a cowboy hat.
Yep.
After Ben
Screaming
Morris
Del Taco, nobody's going to know what he's talking about.
Then Bikini Dan's going to go and tackle him at...
This is happening. We need this to happen. These are tough times, right? These are tough times in America.
It is. It's a tough time.
We need this joy.
Doge is fucking everybody over. Yes, we need this win.
That's right.
We don't normally do like around the league kind of updates and scores, but I did just want to point out one score from this past weekend. Our good buddy Ben Pierman leading the Charleston Battery to a 2-0 win over Rhode Island. Rhode Island obviously sucks. The Maxi Rodriguez got subbed off. It was a complete embarrassment. So all that to say, suck it.
I think
Maxi.
Yeah, I there's complete pain in Rhode Islandville.
Yeah.
Over what happened.
If there was relegation now, they would be the early candidates.
Yeah, stop the count. Stop the count. Got the count. Relegate Rhode Island.
Relegate Rhode Island. I need a bumper
To
sticker that
League
says
One.
that. Yep.
Yes. Promote whoever's on top. I don't know who it is right now.
Loudon, I think, isn't it?
No, I'm talking about in League One to replace
yeah.
Rhode Island with. But yeah, I knew Ben Perman wouldn't let us down.
Yeah,
I know that he still loves City, and he knows what Maxie did and everything. So he needed to do a solid for his former club, and I know a lot of City faithful really appreciated what he was able to do for us. So
yeah, mostly me.
Oh, well, interestingly, this weekend it's going to be Louisville versus Loudon.
Ooh.
So we may end up top of the heap if things go our way.
Well, we'll only know if you go on Sunday or Saturday. Sorry, too many. I don't even know what I'm drinking. It's the M43, but it's the one with.
I'm using the bag already.
Not watermelon. What's the other
He's
one?
pre-gaming.
Grapefruit. It's the M42 with grapefruit. It's really good.
Oh my God.
It's really boozy. Well, come out to Keyworth on Saturday, 4 p.m. kickoff. If you see us, say hi. Say hi to Alan. Say hi to Adam. Say hi to me. We'll say hi back. And I don't have any poems this week.
No haikus or anything?
I was going to practice a poem, but yeah, I did. I got busy. So we're just going to have to say goodbye. Thanks for listening. And
City till I die, say hi to the bad guy, pretty gritty in the key. You see, a flag fly, chin check, hashtag, we came to sweep the leg. With all disrespect, LaRouche will bruise your head. 2012, the scene pop, we came to clean clocks. Your team is dream drop, we gave some mean knocks, stomping on the comp. Yeah, we chomping on the bit. Many came and went, but they ain't stopping none of it. Community built, community owned, roasting foes coast to coast. Leave your hope postponed. Spirit of Detroit, lemons the lemonade. Yemen and Bangladesh make a stronger.